to the Wrestling Nerds Alliance podcast, featuring Robb English, Clifford L. Johnson,
well, gobble, 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 motherfuckers. It's, it's Thanksgiving time here in the U.S. of A. in America. Yeah. And if we don't release this on Thanksgiving Day, we're going to release it on Cliff's favorite day, Black Friday.
Which is actually a terrible day.
Because you don't have any money after that?
No. It's historical references, but we're not going to get all political on here with y'all.
Okay. So I was just the insensitive white man right there?
Yes. Stay woke, dog.
Okay, well.
Stay woke.
That's what I'm good at. Okay. I'm Robb English.
I'm Clifford L. Johnson.
And we are WNA. No one's asked me yet why we don't say Wrestling Nerds Alliance anymore.
Because nobody cares, Rob. You're the only one that cares. Nobody else gives a shit.
Valid.
No.
So, wrestling, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This week in wrestling.
This week in
had
wrestling.
Had its ups and had its downs.
Oh, yeah, it did. Everything started so fucking amazingly on Saturday with TakeOver, War Games.
Wasn't it? You have to say War Games like that. It just doesn't make sense if you don't.
War Games.
War Games.
The match beyond Daddy.
Beyond Daddy, yes.
You got the War Games. That was a horrible Dusty Rhodes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
You get to it. I quit.
I apologize to
mine.
Anybody that was listening.
After I heard it come out, I was like, nope, that's not me. It's not for me. Not in my wheelhouse there, buddy.
I appreciate it. You know, I really do.
It's okay. You practice, though. You get better. You're better at it.
I'll work on it. I'll work on it.
Let's get it together.
Oh, shit. That reminds me. Somebody asked me, because for some reason, and I think it's one of my worst impressions ever, is my AJ Styles. Somebody asked me, I believe it was Fred from Wretched, asked me to read this AJ Styles tweet as AJ Styles. So I'm trying to pull it up. All right, hold on. All right. I got to get into AJ mode.
All right. And from... Is he from Gainesville?
Yeah.
Gainesville, Georgia. The phenomenal AJ Styles.
Being a champion isn't a one-day job. Can't take shortcuts to be the man. So you and your mini Maharajas better be ready for WWE Clash for a forearm to the face.
And scene.
George.
Did he really say forearm to the face?
Yes.
Or did you add that?
No, it is his tweet. You think I'm making that up? He says that shit.
I thought that was
tweet.
just...
The
I thought you made that
up. Being a champion isn't a day one job. You can't take shortcuts to be the man. So you and your mini Maharajas better be ready for hashtag WWE Clash ... for a forearm to the face.
Georgia.
Can't take a forearm to the side of your face and get out this business.
Oh, jeez.
Now I want to read it as AJ's dad. Hold on. That was my favorite from last week. Being a champion isn't a one-day job. You can't take shortcuts to be the man. So you and your mini Maharajas better be ready for WWE Clash. For a forearm to the face. Georgia.
Wow. Georgia.
We make ourselves laugh. That's all
we
that matters, I guess.
And hopefully you're laughing with us and not at us.
Yeah.
You know, because we're all friends here.
We are. So yeah, as we said at the beginning of the show, you may be listening to this when you're trying to get away from your in-laws or your family that's bothering you here in America because it's Thanksgiving. Tomorrow, actually. Friday, Black Friday, the day when all Americans spend their money like they have none and they usually don't. They just overspend for Christmas.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Fights. You know, I guarantee you, I mean, people, our UK listeners that are listening right now, our Australian and Canadian listeners, you know, Thanksgiving is not Thursday, where you are, obviously, like you don't know. But I know they're already laughing at us with how fucked up shit has gotten around here over the last, you know, however many years, and it just seems to be getting worse and worse by the day. I wonder if every year when they see video footage of people just beating the fucking piss out of each other in a Walmart for a waffle hunt, if they, you know, are glad.
I want that's the last goddamn tickle me ammo, and I'm gonna get it for my goddamn son, nephew.
Damn it, I need that bullet juicer. And I will punch you in the face, Ethel.
You ain't gonna do nothing to me, Jim Bob. I got that goddamn juicer my fair and square, goddamn it.
That's right. Because sometimes you need some juice.
You do. You know, juice it up.
Juice it up. Juicy. Keep it juicy. Speaking of juice, you like that segue? Huh?
Hey.
You like that?
Huh?
Hey. There was a lot of juice at TakeOver.
Ooh.
Oh. If you have any non-wrestling fans listening, juice is the insider term for blood. The more you know. Now, why would you do the sound effect yourself when we could just drop that in there?
Because I don't want to have to do that today.
Oh, okay, well, whatever.
It's about to be Thanksgiving, damn it, and the least amount of editing I have to do tonight, that's what I'm going to do. All sound effects are coming from my mouth tonight.
All right.
Live. We're doing it live. Fuck it, we're doing it live.
Do it live!
Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to ask
What'd you forget?
Forgot to ask you to bring a story today because we did have a request for a bedtime story from you.
Oh, wow. I'll make one up on the spot. I'm pretty good at that.
You know what I was thinking? You should do Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Ooh.
You can talk about how something was too big and just right.
All right.
It's too hot. It's too cold. Oh.
That's just
Getting me all sexy right now. Oh, shit.
Ew. All right. So, wrestling, guys?
So, TakeOver. NXT TakeOver on
War
Saturday
Games.
was fucking great.
From start to finish. I watched it twice.
I did too. And what was funny is as soon as it ended, our buddies over at the What Were They Thinking podcast started DMing us, and I was responding, talking about how great that show was. And I was like, oh, God, it was fucking amazing. And we were talking about the different matches, and I mentioned something as if it was happening right now. And he was like, are you watching it again? I was like, yes. That's kind of what I do.
Like, oh, yeah.
When it's really good, I just watch it right over again.
Why not?
So, yeah, it was a good show. I mean, there really wasn't anything that I could complain about on that show. There was some low points, but more so because of what happened, not necessarily the way it was booked or anything like that. The match itself. Maybe the women's match felt a little rushed, but I think that was because they wanted to give more time to the War Games match. But
yeah, that would be one of probably the only complaint I had about the night was the women's match, and not the fact that it wasn't good. I just felt that they could have given them like maybe 5 more minutes.
Right. I mean, even the opener, Cassius Ohno and Lars Sullivan, which I was not looking forward to, was not a bad match.
Yeah, when we talked about it on the show last week, I was just like, why are they going to feed Cassius Ohno to damn Lars Sullivan? But to see those two brutes go at it, it was actually a really good match, and I was entertained. And
you got to see Ohno doing his,
like it.
Athletic stuff in the ring, doing a kip up, doing the roll over the ropes and things like that. And for a guy his size to still be able to do that, and when I say still, Cassius Ohno didn't always look the way Cassius Ohno looks right now. Back in his Chris Hero days.
Let himself go a little bit.
He did. He really did. He really did.
I guess he started doing that following the Ric Flair philosophy. It's all about cardio, baby.
But yeah, he had a really good match with for really good in terms of what you can do with Lars Sullivan, but Lars Sullivan's entrance actually kind of struck me because it reminded me of something you might see in a horror movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was like these odd close-ups that were like shifting around his face as he was just standing there, and like this weird light that looked like fire, and he has that piano music with like screams in the background playing. It was kind of creepy.
Yeah, I don't know what his gimmick is. He's besides
ugly,
big, scary, ugly guy.
Yeah,
but it's working.
I said on Twitter, he's got the most aggressive head that I've ever seen in my life. It's a head that like, you feel like it's going to attack you at any moment.
Nah, it just won't quit.
Yeah. You want to back that head up, buddy? Like, I'm serious. Like, I'm getting a little nervous.
Excuse me, sir.
Put a hat on.
Sir.
Put a hat on for all of us, okay? We're all a little nervous right now.
You're scaring the children. Sir.
He could also be the angriest Amish person I've ever seen because he's got that chin strap beard going.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I think he's
looking
Amish.
Like, roadkill out there.
Yeah. He's an odd looking man, but it works.
Extremely.
When he gets up to the main roster, Vince McMahon's going to fall in love with him.
Oh, yeah.
He checks every box.
Vince McMahon likes big, sweaty man.
That's right. He's big, he's sweaty, he's ugly, he's strong, he's tall. It's all over him.
I'm going to put him in a tag team with Braun Strowman.
I'm going to bring back Snitsky.
It'll be the Strowman family.
I'm going to bring back Snitsky, and they're both going to like feet. Going to call them the foot worshippers. They're going to pull ladies out of the crowd.
The pedantics.
Sniff their toes. It's going to be great. Look at them.
It's going to be great. Look at them. I couldn't even get it out. I hate you.
Damn it, pal. Sorry, I had to get a sip of
you're
water.
Insane. Sip of water. I'm a little parched.
Yeah. And then that match went right into Aleister Black Velveteen Dream.
Which I also didn't think I was going to enjoy as much as I did. But my, oh my, did they put on one hell of a match.
Hey, a couple things came to mind as I was watching this match. For one, and we mentioned it last week, they have built this feud up to where I actually gave a shit. It's a feud
Yeah,
over
true.
one guy's refusal to say the other person's name. How dumb does that sound? But it worked.
It did. I was, even from the vignette that they played from it or for it, I was like, you know what? This is actually a good build. And it's been building up for quite some time. It wasn't like they just put it together over the last couple of weeks. It was just like, no, this is pretty much since right after the last takeover, this has pretty much been what they were building to. And which is also crazy because, I see huge things pause for Aleister Black, and
are they circumcised?
A feud with Velveteen Dream didn't seem like it was going to be something that was even going to be important.
I'm such a child. Such a child.
What?
Yeah,
I missed it. Did you say something
You'll hear
disgusting?
it, I'm sure, when you're editing this.
I probably won't hear it.
But, Aleister Black, the stoic Satanist, I guess, if you want to call him that.
You can't say that.
Excuse me. He's between the light and the dark, there's Aleister Black.
Yeah. It's just the dark side.
He refuses to give the guy who just craves attention, Velveteen Dream, who dresses outlandishly and acts like, the new age version of Prince, and it refuses to acknowledge him and his presence. He just ignores him. I don't need to be around you. And no, you're going to say my name. You're going to acknowledge me. I don't want to. And that's what the feud came up. Was just that was the feud, but it worked. And then they get in the ring and they put on a match like that was, the story was very well told. It was booked in a way to where both of them look strong. The crowd started cheering for Velveteen Dream.
Man, yeah, he was pretty over.
Say his name, and they had a really fun match, and to where it ended, Black defeats Dream. He gets on the mic. Enjoy infamy, Velveteen Dream. So he finally says his name after he kicked his ass. And then he walked away, and I'm thinking, I could do with another month or two of this feud. I want a rematch.
Right, for sure.
It worked. It just worked all around. And what did it accomplish? It made Black look stronger, which they could be building him for a match with, which we will get to in a moment. Another winner on the night. But it also established Velveteen Dream, because he went in there and he took a guy who, for the most part, since he debuted, has been destroying people. And he took him to the limit. He almost beat him on several occasions during that match.
I thought it was really cool how they were playing off of each other. And then even at one moment when Velveteen came in and mocked Black's taunt or whatever, his pose or whatever, sitting in the ring.
Yeah, he starts doing his normal pose where he's got his hands out and he starts doing the hip swivel at him.
Yeah.
Like, say my name. And Black looked the other way like he was ignoring him. So Dream, frustrated, just dropped down Indian style just like he did and just, cross-legged and looked at him like, okay, well, then I'm going to do what you do. And then that got his attention. So
but then
what did he do?
The camera, terrible camera angle on when Black did his taunt.
Right.
When he started taunting Dream and like sliding up against him and staring at him and looking all snake-like.
That would be my other complaint about this match, is they missed the finish.
Yeah. Because I was like, wait, what happened?
You had to catch it on the replay. But, man, that match was really good. So right off the bat, you had two good matches, one very good and one good. And then you went into the women's match. And that, like I said, would probably be my only downside of the night. And not that it was a bad match. You had your fatal four-way, Kairi Sane, Nikki Cross, Peyton Royce, and Ember Moon for the vacant NXT Women's Championship. But the match felt a little rushed. And that would be my only complaint. You know, they probably could have gave him another 5 minutes or so, and it probably would have felt better. But wasn't a bad match. And Ember Moon finally winning the Women's Championship. Now, there were some people that felt like it made her look bad because all the time she got a title shot against Asuka, she could never do it. Asuka finally leaves the company, and now she's champion. Well, Asuka was also built as like the fucking Terminator. So, you know,
Right.
I don't necessarily.
I mean, it's kind of like when the Rockets won back-to-back championships after Jordan retired. It's just like, yeah, well, I mean, you kind of only won because Jordan retired, but you know,
Very
it's
topical
fine.
reference.
He came back and then
appreciate that.
thank you.
That was
Pretty
what,
good.
like 20, 25 years ago? 30 years ago, probably at this point.
First of all, that reference is timeless, just so you know. And for all our listeners out there, if you don't know about Michael Jordan, then
I was probably the only white guy on the planet that was a huge Hakeem Olajuwon fan.
no, I wouldn't say so.
You don't think so?
Hakeem's a legend, bro. No. Hakeem's a legend. Ask anybody in Houston, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of white folks down there who love the fucking ground Hakeem
I just
walks
know
on.
NBA Live
It's the dream,
was my
brother.
go-to team, even before they won the championship. It was always the Rockets. Yeah.
The Rockets. Yeah, I mean they were pretty nuts. Sam Cassell, Robert Horry. Anyway, back to TakeOver.
So after the women's match, we go into the NXT Championship match. Drew McIntyre taking on Andrade Cien Almas with Zelina Vega by his side. And can I just ask you a question? How tall is Zelina Vega?
She's
I
pretty
believe
tiny.
Alexa Bliss is probably taller than her. Oh my God.
Think so? It might be true.
I mean, Alexa
She's
Bliss
tiny,
is
though.
5 feet tall. Vega looked every bit of, less than 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
But that match was stiff. There was a lot of
Super stiff.
and I almost kind of feel like I want to put it on Andrade. I don't know if the language barrier is there or not. I know he doesn't speak strong English. And Drew McIntyre, I don't know if there was communication. I don't know what, but there were times to where they just kind of seemed like they were beating the piss out of each other for no reason whatsoever. Guys, ease back a little bit. Jesus.
Like, come on.
And it kind of played into the finish that seemingly came out of nowhere that nobody expected. I don't think anybody expected the finish of that match.
Yeah.
And what we're talking about is Andrade won. He won the championship. Now, yeah, the way the finish went down, a lot of people thought that it was a mistake because Andrade's going for that hammerlock DDT, but he's doing it off the top rope. Drew McIntyre's sitting in the corner. His feet are still dangling on the top rope, and he's got his, is it his right arm or left arm? Left arm. He's got his left arm. He's holding the top rope with his hand. And Andrade starts to fall. And McIntyre is literally going to come down on the top of his head. So I think he got nervous, like maybe he wasn't ready yet. So he's holding that top rope, and down his body goes. And immediately you can tell after he hits the ground that something's not right. He just lays motionless for a second there, and Andrade pins him. And he gets the win, and then Drew McIntyre rolls to his side, and he's kind of like screaming a little bit, and he's like brushing his biceps on that arm. Normally, when a finish like that happens, the guy rolls out of the ring, but Drew McIntyre stayed in there, and the ref, you can tell he's checking on him. He's grabbing his talk box, and a doctor comes out, and they're checking on his arm, and everybody's kind of like, was he supposed to kick out?
Right, like what?
But apparently that was the finish. Andrade was supposed to win. But you come to find out afterwards that it looks like Drew McIntyre tore his biceps. Yes.
That sucks. I'm thinking that how it was supposed to go down was... oh, by the way, hashtag Cliff called it.
Oh, God.
That he was supposed to still lose to Andrade, and then he would just stay in the ring like he did, you know, soaking up the crowd and whatnot, and them giving a thank you, Drew. And then he would have debuted on Raw or SmackDown this week. But because of the injury, they had to avert those plans. And I'm going to go ahead and stick to that story. I don't have any sources on that, but let's just say I'm pretty knowledgeable. You know,
from what
things.
I have dug into, yes, the plan was to move Drew McIntyre up to the main roster sooner rather than later. Probably not this week, but there was definitely talk that by the Rumble he was going to be on the main roster. But now that's up in the air. There still hasn't been anything released as to what the results of his MRI were. But just knowing what I know as far as like, this type of injury for a wrestler, if he tore his biceps, you're looking, if he's got surgery, he's going to be out an easy 6 months, if not a little longer. No surgery. He's still going to be out for several months, 3, maybe 4. But, when I say easy 6 months, I mean, like, you aren't even going to see him for at least that time, So, I mean, that really sucks for him because he, we talked about it before when he first came back. He left the company. He made a name for himself. He reinvented himself. He reinvented his look. He's bigger, the character's completely different now from the way he was before, where he was kind of the clean cut, arrogant bastard. Now he looks like a fucking monster with the beard and the hair and the roaring and, the most badass metal kilt I have ever seen in my life, when he came out.
That kit was,
I wanted
kilt
that
was
fucking
pretty
kilt.
bad.
When I saw it, I was like, God damn, I want that fucking thing. Yeah, it sucks for him. It really, really does. And you could tell he was, of course, selling the fact that he lost his title, but you could see it in his face, and the camera showing him there. He's more thinking like, dude, I was going to be a Mania this year. You could almost read it on his face. Like, fuck, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to now.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing for him. It's like knowing, like, damn, I did all of this to get back here and to get myself back to a point to where I felt like I belong and wipe the stigma from 3MB and all that, and now it's like, now it's all for naught
But
at this moment.
you got to think, as far as his reinvention
We'll
goes, this is kind of the perfect thing for him to use as motivation for the character. Come back again, you know?
True.
But as far as
True.
Almas being the new champion, I'm okay with it, because the best thing that could have happened to Andrade Almas is Zelina Vega. She completely caused a reinvention of that character to where they are a complete package deal.
For sure.
You know, I would never take her away from him.
Yeah.
Because he needed her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they need to give him a solid run with the belt for, at least till after Mania. I could see a call up with both of them. Going to the main roster after Mania for sure.
What we had talked about before,
because they can't, as far as
we had talked about last week when I was talking about how I would have had McIntyre beat Almas and then build to McIntyre against Cole at Rumble, and that would be where I would have had McIntyre go to the main roster as kind of a surprise in the Rumble. And then you build to Cole Gargano WrestleMania weekend. Now I am hearing that it's looking like it's going to be Almas Black at Rumble TakeOver. And then if you were to drop the title to Aleister Black, or maybe not, a Cole program at some point, but the definite program is they want to get the belt to Adam Cole. Cole is going to be kind of the man in NXT for a while, from what I'm hearing. There's not really a plan to move him up too quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing that's like, it's difficult when it comes to how you want to look at these guys, because of course we're all like, oh man, we want him to go to the Raw or SmackDown. We want him to go to, the main roster. And it's like, I still love what they do in NXT. So it's almost like, as long as they continue to give me this product, like, I don't care who gets called up or when, because to me, TakeOver has been consistently better than the next WWE pay-per-view, the main roster pay-per-view that, on Sundays. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because these guys are hungrier or what. But, I'm kind of wishing that some of these guys didn't leave, like I would still love to see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in NXT. Like, even though I love seeing them on Raw and SmackDown, it's just like I won't say they're underutilized, but like, their moveset is limited. It's just like it just feels like it just changes a lot when they go up to the main roster. So it's almost like, let me keep my guys the way they are. So we'll see. But as long as Adam Cole can continue, he can kind of take the place of what Bobby Roode was over the last year, and then what Shinsuke Nakamura and Finn Balor was the year before that.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with, as we talked about before, NXT is not a monthly pay-per-view. TakeOver is not done every month. It's done every 2, 3, maybe even 4 months. You have time to build these storylines. The show each week is only an hour, so you're not overexposing somebody by having them on every single week. You can kind of juggle the roster a little bit and maintain storylines with vignettes and interviews and things like that. You're giving each story time to build, and then TakeOver, for the most part, is usually not a whole lot longer than like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And it's like 5 or 6 matches.
2.5, yeah.
So over that 2 hours, you're giving all of these matches time. Whereas a main roster show, I mean, let's look at Survivor Series the very next night. It was a 4-hour show with a 2-hour pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't need to be. and everything felt rushed for the most part. We'll get to that in a minute because I definitely want to talk about the main event of TakeOver, that War Games match. Little bummed out when I first heard that there wasn't going to be a roof on the cage. Because, you know, traditional War Games match, it was like a cell over the top of the two rings, but they wanted to kind of make it their own. They took the roof off, which allowed them to do moves off the top of the cage. But that match was paced right. You had the plunder in there with the weapons. The spots in there were crazy at times. I was kind of shocked that there was headshots with the chairs in that match.
Man, they were taking it back old school for real.
And then you had things like, you know, Adam Cole, funny enough, didn't bleed in the match, but the night before at a house show, he collided heads with one of the other Undisputed Era guys and legit busted himself open, needed 7 staples. Did you know Adam Cole wrestled that War Games match with 7 staples in his head? And he didn't bleed.
I did not know that.
Right. Whereas Alexander Wolf left a puddle in the ring.
Holy shit. He died. He died in the ring last night. Oh.
He died. Ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Wolf.
He died.
Bled to death at NXT TakeOver.
Yeah, they had the graphic form at the beginning of NXT
I like to call
today.
him Milky from Me, Myself, and Irene. That's how I always wondered what happened to that kid after that movie ended. Now we know. But yeah, man, he bled a ton. Killian Dane bled a little bit. Eric Young bled a little bit from his nose. I believe, you know, I mean, it was crazy.
I think I saw Bobby Fish leaking a little bit too.
But it was so well done. Like, it wasn't over the top. You know what I mean? It wasn't overbooked. It was just, it was done right. And it was given time. And the right team won. The Undisputed Era won.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I absolutely loved it.
I mean,
it was,
I
gave it 5 cliffs.
Which, by the way,
yep.
People are stealing that from you.
People like who?
Well, I won't say names because I know they're listening to the show, but let's just say they're giving certain things, as you do 5 cliffs, they're giving it 3 or 4 or 5. I'll tell you off air, but it's the name of their podcast.
Really?
And this same person also was taunting me with making it work, to which I had to tell that person, come up with your own shit. So I know this person might be listening, to which I'll say, come up with your own shit.
Getteth office my dicketh.
So anyways,
it's all right. You know, imitation is the best form of flattery. So
correct.
Go ahead, guys. We appreciate you.
Just know
where it came from. Make sure you give us that shout out.
And we know what you're doing.
That's right. We see you.
Yeah.
Don't think we don't see you.
Let's just say if too many more things start popping up on some of your show,
you're going to get that cease and desist letter, homie.
That's right.
Trust me, I got lawyers.
We had that, right? Saturday night. And then Sunday came, and I was really looking forward to Survivor Series. And it wasn't a horrible show. As a matter of fact, I think the show was not bad.
It wasn't a bad show.
Happened.
But it's like when you watch a good movie. Yeah, it's like when you're watching a good movie and the ending sucks, you're like, oh, that was a waste.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how good the first 2 acts are if the fucking climax is terrible. So it's just like, yeah, it's one of those things. Like I was going into that main event like I was really excited, you know. The story that they told, you know, with Raw versus SmackDown, you know, it was tied up 3-3 and it was going into the main event, and I was expecting better. You know, the rest of the card was really good. I liked the Alexa Bliss Charlotte match. The women's match was kind of a clusterfuck, but the right woman won. Soul Survivor, Cliff called it. Asuka. The AJ and Brock match, I know we're going to probably talk about them individually, but, you know, the AJ Brock match was what it was. It was a Brock Lesnar match that showed AJ with good offense, doing what he does.
See, I like that match. I'm
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad at all.
Okay.
Usos in the bar was great. The Shield and New Day opened it up. I didn't think that match was great, but I thought it was serviceable.
I loved that match.
I didn't think it was that good, man. I don't know what it was. I felt like while I was watching it, I felt like Dean Ambrose wasn't like doing anything. I felt like he was like either underselling or overselling. It was something about his performance in the match. It just didn't feel right to me.
Dean, to me, is one of those Randy Orton type wrestlers, in that if he is in there with somebody that he feels like he's going to have some fun in the match, you'll get a decent match out of him. But if he is not invested in the match, you get the laziest fucking performance out of Dean Ambrose.
And that's exactly how I felt in that match. But otherwise, other than that, I thought it was good.
But, I mean, we don't have to run through every single match. You kind of went through most everything there. You know, I want to talk about that main event. Okay?
For sure.
Because like I said, the show wasn't horrible, but that main event really kind of ruined it for me.
For sure.
Now, I want to preface this by saying that the match wasn't ruined because of how certain people were eliminated early. I know that that's what a lot of people probably would expect me to say. Oh, God, they eliminated all the young stars early. That didn't bother me. I kind of had
the shit out of me.
I kind of had a feeling it was going to happen. But what bothered me is that you eliminate Shinsuke, you eliminate Rude, you eliminate Finn, you eliminate all these people. Joe. Why on Team SmackDown was Shane McMahon the last man standing?
Why?
A non-wrestler, almost 50,
Mm-hmm.
because he's a McMahon?
Pretty much. Yeah, I didn't understand that either. I didn't understand any of it. Why, you know, like if you're going to make Braun look strong, we wanted him to go over Triple H? Are we gonna have a Triple H Braun Strowman match at Rumble?
That's the other thing that bothered me. Okay, the way that the final moments of that match were booked. Okay, you had Shane McMahon as the last man standing against Triple H, Kurt Angle, and Braun Strowman. Okay, two part-time at best wrestlers
Mm-hmm.
and probably the hottest act in the company right now in Braun Strowman, taking on a non-wrestler. You had everybody wanting to see Kurt in the ring. He gets in the ring to face off with Shane McMahon. And Triple H fucking pedigrees Kurt. And then pulls Shane on top of Kurt. The funny thing is the meme that's going around with the look on Braun Strowman's face was pretty much everybody at home's look too.
Yeah, for sure.
What the fuck did you do that for?
What the fuck? What?
But the difference is that Braun in the moment was supposed to be confused as to why Triple H was doing this because it could potentially be causing him to lose the match. But everybody at home was more confused as in, how does this make any fucking sense? It didn't.
Like he wanted the glory, so he got him eliminated when all he really had to do was just like a blind tag. Like, I don't, it was just ridiculous.
And then he
First of all, the fact that
after he has Shane cover Kurt and eliminate Kurt, he helps Shane to his feet, and then he pedigrees Shane and pins him. So why? Now, I know on Monday they tried to explain it a little bit. You know, he's just fucking with Kurt Angle. Okay. It still doesn't make any fucking sense.
right.
Wouldn't it have made more sense to have fucking Kurt turn on Triple H?
Right.
Because of what he did to his son and that his wife keeps fucking with him? You're building to a Triple H Angle feud as it is. Have Kurt stand up to him. Get fired. Go to SmackDown and compete for a job or something, you know, and or write a loophole that's going to keep him in power on Raw. And then you have the dynamic of him and Stephanie fighting for the next month or two until him and Triple H fight. Or better yet, have Triple H get disqualified afterwards because he refuses to leave the ring after pedigreeing Kurt. I don't know. Like, anything would have made more sense than what they did.
Yeah. I was just sitting here like, wait, what just happened? I'm so confused.
And then after the match, you had Braun Strowman rightly beat the shit out of Triple H to the roar of the crowd. Now, I am not a Roman Reigns hater. I'm not thrilled with the fact that he's always at the top of the card because I do think that they're trying too hard to get him to be the man, and it's not working. I do think that you might be able to turn him heel and you maybe see something, but at this point, I just think it's like, you know what? Knock him down the card a little bit and have him regain some of the luster that he lost after you tried to turn him into Superman 2.0.
All right.
Okay? Keep him with the Shield. Have him be the Roman from the Shield that everybody loved. Just the ass kicker, barely spoke, you know. Not the guy saying suffering succotash in the ring. You know what I mean? I think you go with Braun. He's the hot hand right now. He's the guy that everybody wants. But we all know what's going to happen at Mania, and it's not going to be Braun versus Brock. It's going to be Roman versus Brock. You know, AJ lost to Brock in what I thought was a pretty good match. In that Brock, you know, yeah, he was kicking the shit out of AJ for the beginning of the match, but he eventually started getting beat by AJ. And he was taking punishment. He sold a leg injury to where everybody thought it was legit, and it wasn't.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, he made AJ look like $1 million to me, even though he got his ass kicked for the first half of the match. Well, AJ's not going to kick out of the F5. There's only one guy kicking out of the F5, and it's happening at Mania, and he's the big dog. Would you change plans and have Braun win the Rumble?
I would. Hell yeah, I would. Who else would win it right now? Like,
well,
they've tried this. They've tried this Reigns Lesnar thing already. I don't understand why. Like, it didn't work. Well, I wouldn't even say it didn't work. I mean, it did what it did. You know? Why do it again? Like, is it going to be that much of a build? Like, oh, the rematch that blah, blah, blah. Roman and Lesnar 2. Or is it 3 at this point?
I think it's 3.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, the people who I think could win the Rumble this year, I feel like it's going to be Roman. I don't think that's who I would give it to. At one point, I thought you could have realistically had it be Finn Balor. That's not going to happen now because word has come out that Vince has now soured on pushing Finn Balor. The plan actually was to do Finn versus Brock at Rumble. That's not happening. That's been thrown out. I don't know. You know, I feel like it could be at this point, I feel like even though it doesn't make a lot of sense with how they've been booking him lately, I feel like it's going to be Shinsuke.
you think
Shinsuke winning the Rumble to take on AJ at Mania. I do
You think
feel
they're
like
going to let
that's where they're
Shinsuke
headed.
Nakamura win the Royal Rumble?
I mean, I can't think of anybody else.
No. It'll either be Braun or Roman, and then Shinsuke will win at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
They're not going to let Shinsuke win the Rumble. Well, I won't say they're not going to do it. I just don't think it'll happen. Especially with the way that he's been booked lately. But we'll see. Wasn't he the first guy eliminated at Survivor Series?
First guy eliminated Survivor Series was Shinsuke, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Followed closely thereafter by Bobby Roode.
Yeah. Which I thought was, like I say, you thought it was okay. I thought it was so dumb. That whole thing should have been like totally backwards. But hey, it's a kid's show, guys. So
Yep.
they don't expect us adult folks with actual brains who can remember things past, the last month or two. Like the fact that Bray Wyatt got sick. He missed his match at TLC. And now he's back and he's not feuding with Finn Balor. Don't understand. Like, so are we just supposed to forget that they were just in a feud? Okay. All right. I don't know what they're going to do with Bray now. Maybe they did something with him on one day and I didn't watch it, so who knows? But, yeah. Everything after Survivor Series now is just like, I'm just kind of like, I'm good on.
I mean, at this point, you're kind of in cruise control until the Rumble.
Yeah. But one thing that came out of this week's television shows that I did like was the addition of a few new NXT folks to the main roster.
Yeah. On Monday, you had the long-awaited return of Paige. She made her return. Hasn't been seen on WWE TV since, I want to say, like summer or something like that, of 2016. she returned, and she brought backup with her in the form of NXT talents Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Mandy Rose is somebody who they have been trying to find a way to get her on the main roster for a while. If you remember, not too long ago, Goldust was talking about his golden protege. Apparently that was supposed to be Mandy Rose, and then it was dropped. She hasn't been on NXT TV a lot, but from what I have heard is, as far as like the character aspects of things, she's kind of a natural. In the ring, she's a little bit more athletic than you would think. Yeah, she is a fitness model, but apparently she has some athletic ability to where she's not horrible. And I think, being on the main roster with the right people in the ring, she'll gain the right experience. Now, Sonya Deville, to me, is kind of an odd choice. She was kind of starting to make a name for herself in NXT. She is like this MMA type character. But you got to look at it from this point of view. There's still talk and plans in place to do the 4 horsewomen of WWE against the 4 horsewomen of MMA. They signed Shayna Baszler. Ronda Rousey is training. Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke are also training. They have legitimate MMA backgrounds, whereas Sonya Deville was an amateur MMA fighter. She never had a pro fight. So you have kind of a fake lady MMA fighter on the main roster now when you're about to bring out Ronda Rousey.
Right.
And Shayna Baszler, legit MMA fighters. So what, you're going to have 5 women soon in WWE that have the same gimmick?
Pretty much.
So
you got 2
that
right now.
What's that?
I said you got 2 right now if you count Carmella and what the hell is her name? Liv Morgan.
Yeah. Going over to SmackDown, you had the debuts of Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. And they debuted as heels. Never mind the fact that on NXT, including tonight's episode of NXT, Ruby Riott's a face.
Yeah, another face to heel NXT to main roster thing. They just did the same thing with Bobby Roode, turned him. And now they just turned Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
And Liv Morgan's
never been a heel from what I can recall.
Right. She's like the sweetest little thing that's been on TV.
And Sarah Logan looks like a wildling out of Game of Thrones. So I guess it's, you could go heel with her. But
yeah, but she was all
Sarah Logan's kind of
girl next door, country girl, good old country girl in the CWC. Or the CWC, but the Mae Young Classic.
Mae Young Classic. Yeah, it's just weird. And she's kind of a weird pull to the main roster because she's barely been on NXT TV.
Right.
And not barely been as in like Mandy Rose, in that you knew that they kind of had her earmarked for something. Sarah Logan, they just pulled her up. Now, from what I have been finding out, the reason for these call-ups is because Vince feels that the women's division on both rosters has kind of been stale lately, which I actually kind of agree.
I do agree.
So it is kind of a shot in the arm to have 6 new talents, 3 on each roster, to throw into the mix. There's also
I do hate how they kind of just debuted them at the same way, though.
A day apart. Kind of in the exact same way.
Yeah, I was just like, wait a minute. That was weird. But it's cool.
Now there's talk, rumors that with all these extra talents on the roster now, that maybe at the Rumble you might be getting 2 Rumble matches, one men and one with women.
That would be kind of cool, even though they just did one in NXT.
I kind of feel like you should, and then you can have, something that they try to do every year with the men's match, but you could do it more so with the women because you can kind of fill it out with surprise entries. You can bring in names from the past or indie names and things like that and have them come in, maybe that's how you debut a Ronda Rousey. You have a women's Rumble match and talk about a fucking shock surprise entry. The biggest name in women's MMA comes walking out to the ring, and then have her get eliminated by somebody like a Charlotte or, a Bailey or a Sasha. Either way, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm booking it right now. If that happens, Rousey wins it. And then it's her versus Charlotte at WrestleMania.
Yeah, maybe.
Cliff called it. We see those Connecticut streams. You guys are going to listen. Just like you've been listening all week, all year.
Aside from that stuff, though, I wasn't overly thrilled with Raw or SmackDown this week.
Not really, but I think it's also could be the pay-per-view hangover. I mean, that's the thing that kind of, anytime there's a takeover, I think we always have these sort of, thoughts, because takeover just kills every single time.
Never disappoints. As a matter of fact, you're always excited for it because you know it's going to be good, and it's always way better than you thought it was going to be.
Exactly. And you think like, there's no way that it's going to be better than I thought it was, because the last one was better than I thought it was going to be. And that one was even better than I thought it was going to be, that I thought it was going to be. Like it's it's crazy.
We have our buddy
now
Bruce,
it's like,
who listens to the show, who doesn't watch wrestling. And I feel like we talk about NXT so much that I wouldn't be shocked if one of these days there's a takeover or something like that. And I'm like, Bruce, you want to come over and watch a takeover? He'd be like, yeah, I'd watch a takeover. Because you guys always talk about how awesome it is.
Because it is.
Right.
But then whatever the next big pay-per-view is, so it's usually at takeover is usually Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Rumble, and Mania, right? Yeah. So it feels like, even after WrestleMania this year, it was kind of like, whatever. After SummerSlam, it was the same. It was just like, I don't know. I think it's like a takeover hangover, man. The next couple of weeks, you're just like, man, whatever.
So as a matter of fact, I'm going to say this right now. Bruce, if you're listening, the next takeover is in January, the night before the Royal Rumble. I'm inviting you to come over to my place, watch TakeOver, tell me what you think, and I'm also inviting you the next night to watch the Rumble. Now, I love the Rumble, and it usually doesn't, well, I shouldn't say that. The last few years it has disappointed. But see the difference. As somebody who's not a wrestling fan, see the difference between the two shows. And tell me if you think I'm just bitching for the sake of bitching on this show. Or if there's a legitimate thing that even a non-wrestling fan can see. Wow, it definitely feels like a complete disconnect from one night to the next.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. There was something that happened on Tuesday night that I actually enjoyed. And it was something we kind of made fun of the week before. Hammers, y'all.
Hammers, y'all.
All right.
Yo.
I still hate the name.
Hate it.
I'm not a fan of the outfits. The music and the entrance is not bad. But this version of Rowan and Harper in the ring,
yeah,
I'm all for.
Yeah.
All for it.
1,000%.
I actually saw a tweet that night that I retweeted that I 100% agreed with. If they would have debuted Ascension like they did Bludgeon Brothers, Ascension would not be joke characters right now in WWE.
No, not at all. Yeah, I was watching that and I was just like, oh, all right, here they come.
Yep.
And then the match got underway and I was just like, I'm sold.
Yeah. Here comes Rowan and Harper in their Hardy Boys / Braun Strowman / Kane inspired outfits.
Right. I was going to say that did they borrow some stuff from Kane and just like,
right,
reupholster it or something?
Yeah. They borrowed some stuff from Kane. They threw some spandex shirts on, They have the weird patches for no reason, like Braun Strowman. But the way they performed, it was like, and as I've said before on this show, I'm a sucker for a beast tag team. I love Authors of Pain, love the Road Warriors. Any monster Doom, Butch Reed and Ron Simmons. Any monster tag team, I'm always like a fan of. Demolition. Things like that. And that's kind of what this team was. And the way they just went in there and beat ass, I was like, fuck. And yes, I am a fan now. I will not call you Bludgeon Brothers. I'm just going to call you Harper and Rowan.
Harper and Rowan.
Man, hammers, y'all.
Hammers, y'all. Speaking of hammers.
Wait a minute.
Did you see? All right, go. What?
I'm going to cut you off because the whole point of why we were talking about all those women being brought up, see how there's no format now? We just go back and forth. I got a lot of traction on Twitter about this. And it's something that a lot of people were saying. So you brought up Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Sarah Logan, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, all in one fell swoop. That's awesome for them.
Mm-hmm.
But where's the iconic duo?
Where are my boos at?
Where's your boo snacks?
Really? Where my boo snacks at? Yeah, that was one thing that kind of baffled me a bit.
Now, odds are they left them behind because you just gutted the women's division again in NXT. You need to rebuild it. You kind of need Peyton and Billy there to help with that. But if anybody deserves to be on the main roster right now, as far as women in NXT, it's Peyton and Billy.
For sure.
And I know you were pretty pissed.
I was. But, it's okay. Because all that means is that we're going to get some iconic matches with Ember Moon. And one of my iconic boos will have the NXT Women's Championship probably at Rumble TakeOver, whatever that is.
Okay. You're certain of that?
I'm going to call it.
Uh-oh, hashtag Cliff called it.
That's right. I don't think they'll put the belt on Kyrie yet. They'll probably wait till Mania to do that.
So aside from that, I don't really have a whole lot else to talk about as far as WWE TV right now. You want to get to a mailbag question?
Do it, man. I'm getting ready to pass out here.
Oh, wow. You all right?
No, man, it's, Thanksgiving. Got to get up early, get the stuffing ready.
Yeah. Are you cooking?
No, I'm prepping.
You're prepping?
Yeah.
Is the lady cooking?
Oh, yeah. Killing it.
Oh, Crystal cooks?
Yes.
I didn't mean that as in like
a son of a
shocker.
gun.
Like I meant like, I meant more as in like she's a good cook.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Oh, wow.
Amazeballs.
All right. So we got a mailbag question. So what does that mean? We don't have a drop for this, Cliff. We usually have somebody say
mailbag.
This mailbag question comes from our boy Matthew Skeets at Skeets SKEATS _LKT out of the UK. I'm gonna go ahead and call him our super devoted fan out there, because he's the guy who went and listened to every single episode of ours back to back over the course of 2 weeks to catch up.
And we love you for it.
And he is amazing for it. And he always shoots me a interesting question or two in the DM. So, Matthew, thanks for listening. We really, really appreciate it. His question, which 5 people / groups would you book for this year's WWE Hall of Fame? Mine would be, and this is what he says, Undertaker, Paul Heyman, New Age Outlaws, China, inducted by Vince Russo, with a Lifetime Achievement Award for Jim Johnston, a.k.a. the man who created some of the most iconic wrestling theme songs that you don't even have to be a wrestling fan to know what some of these songs are. He created them. Who would you put in?
All right. Well, seeing as how you just blurted out what his answers were, now I feel like whatever answers I wanted to give, I need to totally go back to the drawing board now.
No, it just means that you have similar ideas to our friend.
Yeah, but I don't want to. I'm not going to be like that podcast and copy.
Yeah.
I like to be original with my shit.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go with.
Oh, okay.
Goldberg. Goldberg will be my main guy. Damn, I'd have to think of 4 other guys. Has D-Generation X gone in as a faction? Or a group?
No.
So I do DX. And that way you'd get I do the DX version with, well, I do both versions, like a culmination of them. So you'd have the Triple H China New Age Outlaws DX, and then the Triple H Shawn Michaels China DX. Rick Rude's already in, but he can get in there too, in the group. Let's see. Men on a Mission. How about that? Actually, no, I take that back. I do the Dudley Boys.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, in real life, the Dudley Boys. And
on a mission. I'm just dying thinking of fucking Mo and Oscar walking out to the ring to accept their with Mabel on the Titantron in the background.
Oh, and what about Sid Vicious?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So that's it for me. So I'm going Goldberg, DX, Sid. Who else did I say?
Men on a
the
Mission.
Dudley Boys. The Dudley Boys and Men on a Mission.
Who's your woman entry? They usually have a woman each year.
Oh, my woman entry will be who this year?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. Lita's in, Trish is in, Beth is in. I wouldn't say I do. Is Sable in?
She is not.
I do Sable.
Okay. All right. Deserving. Definitely deserving. I will steal your Goldberg because I definitely think that just because his run kind of sort of ended last year and they just did the Goldberg 24 special, I feel like this is going to be his year. I would say Undertaker, but knowing there's already rumors that there's a slight chance he could be coming back for Mania this year, I don't see him going in until he's damn good and ready. If at all, because he's very protective of his character. He's not going to walk out on the Hall of Fame stage unless he knows he's done to give a speech, you know, if he's still kind of on the fence about it. So I'm going to steal your Goldberg. That's your headliner. Your near the top guy, who they always seem to have, but maybe not quite a headliner for the Hall of Fame, is somebody who I think is well past deserving and is not in there yet. Vader.
Yeah.
I am going to say your tag team. Man, I really like your Dudley's idea, but I'm going to go. Even though I don't think it'll happen because I know there's still that lawsuit going on, they're not in and they should be. Demolition.
Good choice.
Your mid-card, well-known character. Okay, here's a good out of nowhere call. Kind of, they always seem to do this with the Hall of Fame, mending fences. And because of recent developments, if all goes well and he is clean and sober after he gets out of rehab, WWE sponsored rehab, by the way, Jeff Jarrett.
Huh.
Intercontinental champion, tag team champion, WCW champion, United States champion, former Four Horsemen member, started his own company after he had the balls, or maybe not even balls, lack of brains, to hold up Vince McMahon for money and then get fired on national TV. That's a good redemption story for the Hall of Fame, Jeff Jarrett. Your manager or behind the scenes guy, Eric Bischoff. Your women's competitor, Sable's a really good one. How about Stacy Keibler?
Oh, along with the Dudleys, huh?
No, my tag team is Demolition. Although I do think Dudleys have a better shot right now than Demolition.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me see. Celebrity Wing, which is so fucking dumb that they do that every year.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
I don't know. Who gives a shit? There you go. That's my answer. Who gives a shit? Yeah. Man, Yeah, I'll end it at that. I can't think of anything else. I'd love to say start pulling ECW names in there just because, I love my ECW. Why can't I get a shitty ass fucking Sandman promo at Hall of Fame? Dropping F-bombs and everything.
Do you think any ECW originals will ever go in?
I 100% believe Paul Heyman is going in someday.
Paul Heyman definitely is going to go in.
I believe Tommy Dreamer is going to go in someday. Rob Van Dam will absolutely go in at some point.
One day.
Aside from that, maybe Taz, maybe Sabu, maybe even Sandman. Dudley's absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it. I don't really see anybody else. No, I take that back. Shane Douglas. I think Shane Douglas will go in someday. Because, think about it. How, when you think of ECW, he is, aside from, Sabu and Rob Van Dam and Dreamer and Sandman, who else is more closely associated with ECW, let alone the World Championship in ECW?
True.
And then you had the moment where he threw down the NWA title. That's like a huge moment in the history of wrestling.
True. All right, I'll give you that.
So, yeah.
Do we have any other mailbag questions today? That was a good question. He always comes with the thunder on the questions, man. I'll tell you.
Always. Man. Matt from Matthew Skeets, always coming with great questions. So keep them coming, buddy. I don't know.
Well, hey, we don't have any questions. Everybody's probably on chill mode because of the holidays. So, Mr. English.
Yes, sir.
This is our... How many episodes is this?
This will be the 31st episode. Technically 32, but I don't count the episode I did where I recapped Extreme Rules.
Uh-huh.
So this is our 31st
after
episode. 30
episodes, what are you thankful for?
I knew you were going to do that. What am I
Holy
thankful
shit.
for?
Wait, before we have 8 minutes, we need a WCW.
No, we don't. Not this week. I'm not going to be that guy late night again, throwing a WCW up. We're skipping it this week. Sorry, guys. If you want to play Scott Hall just for the kicks of it, go ahead. But yeah, no.
No one.
WCW, yeah. And our WCW this week is going to be the actual WCW. Rest in peace. How about that?
All right. What are you thankful for?
What am I thankful for? Starting things off, obviously, I am thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my wife. I'm thankful for my amazing, beautiful, smart, sassy, funny daughter. I'm thankful for you because I probably wouldn't have been doing the show without your final kick in the ass to tell me to do it. And it's become something that I look forward to every week and absolutely love doing. Aside from the fact that you've been my brother for the last 20 some odd years, and that ain't going away ever. As far as the show goes, I don't know how to put it. This is something that I've found that I absolutely love doing, and I never thought that I would. it's an odd subject if you really want to look at it that way. But then again, most podcasts are kind of odd subjects. If you generally you have somebody who is not an expert talking about something like they're an expert.
Yeah.
But through this show, I've kind of gotten out of my comfort zone in doing things that I, a year ago, would never thought that I would be doing. And what I mean by that is I detested social media. I had a Twitter account that I never used. And now all of a sudden I'm fucking addicted to Twitter.
No.
But through this show, I've met some really awesome people. You know, I've met the guys in the PWO. You know, Matt with the gimmick table, Matt and Bats, Leo and Josh at S Marks the Spot, the guys over at Raw's Boar, Tom and Alan at Broadcast. I mean, hell, I got friends in Australia now. You know what I mean? That's bizarre to me that I, you know, guys that I've never physically met, but yet I talk to on an almost daily basis now. And of course, Fred and Craig at Wretched Wrestling. Talk to those guys on a daily basis, you know, and that's crazy to me. I talk to them more now than people who I thought were some of my closest friends on this planet. So in a way, they've become extremely close friends to me. All the folks at the Castaways, you know, we call ourselves, all the podcasts there. And I'm not going to go through a roll call of every podcast in the Castaways right now because I'm doing it off the top of my head. My phone is dying, and I know that I'm going to leave people out if I do that. There's so many people in the Castaways now that it's hard to keep up. But off the top of my head, guys that I know I talk to a lot, Brent and PJ with Home Video Hustle, Stork and Peacock at Besotted Geek, Phil at Useless Debates, Mario, Superiority Complex, Jazz at High Expectations, Jeff, Kung Fu Drive-In. Hell, see, now I'm feeling bad because I know I'm going to start forgetting people, but I talk to them all the time, and they've become close friends. Our fans on Twitter that listen to the show and interact with us all the time. You know, Coach Kidwell and RJ and Beefy O'Mac and, you know, like all these people that listen to us and follow us on Twitter. I cannot say how thankful I am because you're giving me the chance to do something that I've found was missing. And it's really kind of completed me in a way, you know. I don't know what else to say. You know, thank you. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for giving us a chance. Listeners in the UK, all our WCWs, you know, Sally, Smiley, Chelsea, Kim. Damn, I know I'm going to start missing them too, but it's crazy to me that when I sit and think about it, that here we are now, we've been doing this for 7 months, and we have people in other countries that listen to us every week. We have tons of people that listen to us because for whatever reason, once a week they get a kick out of listening to me bitch about things and you making fun of me.
And they like the sound of my voice.
And they love the sound of your voice. They probably hate the sound of mine. But I'm rambling, but I can't put it into words how thankful I am for anybody that is listening to me right now and letting me do this on a weekly basis. And I hope to continue doing it for as long as I can. So from the bottom of my heart,
aww,
thank you. What are you thankful for?
That was beautiful. I'm going to play the saddest violin underneath.
Are you going to play the
this
sad
later?
Hulk music?
It's going to be awesome. No, that's amazing, man. You kind of ran through at least the podcast version. I'll get to that a little bit later, but as far as what I'm thankful for, the biggest thing right now that I'm thankful for is I've made a decision over the course of, the last few months to get closer with God. I've rejoined a church. I know I kind of give off a pretty nonchalant, funny vibe, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, but just over the course of the last few months, man, just getting learning more about myself and just having a relationship with God. It's just been amazing for me. And through that also just getting closer with my family and growing with my girl and my kid, my son, and just understanding the, getting better as a person to understand what I need to do as a man. And, there's a lot of things that, of course you guys don't get to see for what happens in the household and relationships and, all that type of stuff. So, it's been a tough road being a father and thinking about other people first, as opposed to yourself. And I've been a pretty selfish guy throughout my life, and not necessarily selfish as in, I shit on people or anything like that, but just, I always looked out for me first. And now I feel like, learning how to look out for family has been something that I'm really thankful for this year. I'm thankful for my girl and my son, and thankful for the support that we get here in Atlanta. I'm also thankful for the successes that I've had in my career this year. Worked on a feature film, a pretty big movie here. My acting career is also starting to get off the ground a little more. Being able to produce and direct, and just all the aspects of the film world, doing some cinematography, and it's just, I feel like I'm just growing. Every day I'm growing and learning more things about this business, about this industry. So I feel very thankful for the people that have been put into my life through that, from the people over at Tyler Perry Studios, from the guys at AMC, Sony, the list can go on, and these people are, people that I can look to and ask questions, and, those people have been pretty invaluable to me. I really feel like I'm just thankful for the blessings that I've had, this year, and this one definitely being one of them. One of the biggest things for me is being able to record this podcast every week. I know myself and Robb and with Ed, we've been friends for like you said, over 20 years, but over the past, probably 5 to 10 years, we haven't really been in constant communication with each other. It's always a phone call or a text message every now and again, or a, hey man, did you see what happened on the pay-per-view last night, or, this and that. But, since we've all been kind of going in our own different directions, and one's married and with kids and their own careers and things like that, I felt like, we all kind of drifted apart, and I'm really thankful for this opportunity to be able to get closer back with you guys, I'm not really sure where Ed is at this point since he hasn't been doing the podcast. I haven't really heard much from him even online. So Ed, if you are listening, what the fuck is up with that?
I texted you earlier, damn it.
Yeah, like, don't act like, that we not still boys, because I don't know what the fuck is going on at this point, but hey.
We love you.
You still my guy. So I don't give a fuck what happens about, being able to record some shit. If you got the time, get your ass on here and we're ready to rock. But yeah, I'm definitely, man, super thankful of the fact that I've been able to get back in touch with you, man, and get our relationship back to where it was. And then just to see the growth that this has gone through over the course of the last 7 months has just been pretty amazing to me. I mean, this is the first time that I've done a podcast. I've done music and I've done film, but a podcast is it was something of a challenge for me, because although I do like talking, it's pretty difficult to talk consistently for an hour to 2 hours. So unless your name's Robb English.
Okay. I say I do it easily.
So I'm thankful that I have you for that. You can provide the play-by-play and I'll do the color. So I'm totally okay with that. But yeah, and the guys that we've met, I know your relationship is a bit different when it comes to the PWO guys and the Castaways. I do apologize for not being as present, but I got so much shit going on here that it's just like,
you really do.
It's insane trying to juggle.
I try to explain that to everybody. Like, Cliff's super busy.
Yeah.
I'm shocked we get the time we do each week to do this show.
And you know how it comes down to the wire sometimes. Like, I'll do it Thursday and I'll cut it to you tonight.
Right. It's Thursday, 11 o'clock. Let's start recording for the show that's going to come out in 3 hours.
Right. Right, man. So it's like, I really, really look forward to it. But I really, I do wish that I did have a little bit more time to be able to reach out to these guys. But just know that I do go in and I check the thread and I go through and I read what you guys say. And I really appreciate the support that you guys have given us over the course of the these last few months. So thank you guys. Thank you to all our listeners, all our subscribers, all our new subscribers, and all our old subscribers. I mean, everyone has been so receptive, and I just, I'm really thankful for that, and I'm really anxious to see where we go in the future. So to that's really it, man. That's what I'm thankful for this year. And
you know what? When we get off
to
mic,
all of you guys.
I'm gonna hug you when we get off mic.
You can't, but all right. You give me a.
I want you to wrap your own arms around yourself.
Send me a hugging gif.
Hugging you.
Hug gif.
No, it's not okay.
It's not the same.
How about this? Take a blanket, put it in the dryer, and then get it out and roll yourself in it and pretend that it's my warm hug.
Yeah, so that's not going to happen. But I tell you what I will do. The next time I'm taking a shit, I'll pull up your picture.
Why? Why?
Because you're the shit, Rob. You're the shit.
Oh, that is the most bizarre thing I've ever heard. But it works. It works, I guess. Kind of, in a weird way. Oh,
you the shit,
fuck.
bro.
All right.
Oh, man.
So,
fun times.
Now that we've just spent the last 10, 15 minutes talking about the things we're thankful for. Sincerely, thank you. Thank you to anybody that is listening. Thank you to anybody that has ever downloaded us, followed us on Twitter, interacted with us. You have changed our lives for the better, and we appreciate you very, very much. I know that you are not celebrating Thanksgiving in the UK and Australia and Canada as we are, but we mean it from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you very much. And I think it's about time we start to wrap things up. Look in the notes for this episode, because it would be weird to start plugging all our Twitter and email and everything right now after that heartfelt thank you. So yeah, all of our stuff is in there. Follow us on Twitter, email us, and you know where to go. Time to go home, Cliff.
Oh, my name's Clifford L. Johnson.
See, now you're making it weird. You're doing that.
No.
You're doing that. Like, you're making it weird. You've ruined the moment.
You know, I just...
Why would you do that? I just told you that I love you and that I'm thankful, and now we're fighting.
It's not.
Told me that when you shit, you think of me. Now it's time to go home.
I'm Clifford L. Johnson.
I am Robb English, saying to you, when life hands you adversity, always kick out at 2.
Sweet.
What the fuck? It's not Halloween. That was like the Exorcist in this. Jesus now.
Taste right. Taste sweet.
Okay. Yeah. Bye, everybody.
I don't know what I was doing today, but I felt like I needed to get that out.